This video is basically for beginners wanting to know what to learn first. You see loads of things online about this is the most important piece of information, you must learn this, and they're generally all bollocks. But I thought I would make a video of my own on this subject, and the point in it really isn't for me just to tell you stuff. I'd like other people that are good players or hopefully teachers to post down in the comments section and say what they think you should learn first. That way any beginner that stumbles upon this video can simply check out the comments section, and then whatever comes up the most, you can be pretty certain those are good things to learn. Let me just say that learning anything is useful. There's no piece of theory that's going to make you worse. It's all good to learn, and you're going to need to know a great deal of it eventually if you want to become a decent standard. But there are some things that I think that would get the ball rolling that are pretty basic things that you're going to have. So I'm just going to grab a guitar here. I would learn your basic kumbaya chords, your G, C, and D and all that kind of stuff. If nothing else, because it's going to give you something to work with. You're going to be able to play some songs, strum through some things, and maybe sing with it if that's what you want to do. It's going to give you instant success, and I believe in having some instant success because it's got to be fun. The whole thing has got to be fun. I never did that. I didn't have a book. I didn't have a teacher, and as it happens, I didn't have the internet either. So when I started, I kind of took the long road. I basically tried to pick out vocal melodies, which is fine, but I was doing it without the knowledge of a scale or any theory or anything like that. So it was good ear training, but that's about all you were really getting from it. All I knew was that this way was higher and this way was lower, and that was pretty much all I had to go on. So picking out chords by ear, I always found really difficult. So I would recommend learning the basic shapes. I would then also learn the notes on the bottom two strings. Now, you don't necessarily need to know the notes, as in the letters, not the numbers. You don't necessarily need to know them all over the board, not to begin with anyway, because you can find the other ones by using octaves. So there's a few different octave shapes that you'll stumble upon eventually. So the notes on the bottom two strings and octave shapes so that you can transfer those notes around the board. Then I would probably go for the pentatonic scale, and some people might disagree with this, but I think it's going to get you moving around the fretboard. It's an easy shape to picture, and a lot of the time as guitarists we've picked up the instrument because we've heard somebody playing in quite a guitaristic style, and they're lightly using a pentatonic as a jumping off point for other things. So getting good at it and getting some ideas within it is never going to be a bad thing. Also, when later on, if you get used in a band or something, people want the guitarist to sound like a guitarist, and being able to play these pretty basic rock guitar things in a pentatonic is going to be really useful to you. And it's a good way of seeing some of the other scales as well. So I would recommend getting that down. Learning in A is useful because then you have notes below the first position bar chord and above it, and you're just going to be able to put it together really quickly on the board. It's just a really easy key to see. Then I would go about learning a major scale, and the major scale is going to unlock everything, but I think that learning it first might be a bit too flowery for you, just as a sound, and it's not going to sound quite as cool as the pentatonic, so you're not going to have quite as much instant success, and it's also going to be a little bit more difficult to implement it in certain songs, particularly if you're into rock or something like that. You're going to find the major scale, like I say, too flowery, and it's just not going to be quite as useful for beginning. However, if you don't learn it, it's a huge limitation, and I highly recommend that you get used to it pretty early on. And I would learn it in your first position. So what I mean by that is if you've got a bar chord, like a major chord in A here, I would learn your major scale running through that. And the reason for that is that it's going to tell you what all of the other chords are. So if you can play a major scale and you can count as high as 7, it's tough stuff, I know, but that's going to pretty much unlock the rest of the board, all of the modes and all of the different chords. For instance, if you had a major chord like this and you wanted to make it a major 7, well, you just play your major scale from the bottom, so 1 being A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you land on this note here, and you just basically add that note into your major chord, and you've got yourself a major 7. The same would be true for like a minor 6. You'd start on 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you add this top piece of the minor chord, and you add that note that you've just landed on, which would be the 6, into the chord, and you end up with a minor 6 chord. It's literally that simple. So a flat 7, like a dominant 7 rock and roll sound, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you flatten that sucker, and then you've got yourself a 7 chord. So it really does unlock all of the other chords, and will obviously let you target chord tones and things which might be useful later on. I wouldn't bother with things like altered scales straight away. That's way down the line. Arpeggios, not again. You know, we're getting into the realms of some jazzier things that you're running before you can walk. I would think just that stuff. So your bar chords, by the way, you already know. If you know how to play an E, well, you already know how to play a bar chord. The nut here is your first finger, right? So there's your E chord, and as it moves up, you just put your finger there instead. And yeah, it'll take a bit of time before that comes out clean, but you know, you'll do it. It's a lot easier than you think to begin with. So for me, those basic things would be what I would learn first. Your kumbaya chords, your open, splangy chords that you can strum. Those are going to be useful. Those obviously are the bar chords. If you can just picture the nut as being your finger, so you know bar chords already. And if you know the note names on the bottom 2 strings, then you'll know where to put the bar chord. That's kind of useful. A pentatonic scale, a major scale, and the truth, I think, is pretty much all you need for getting to a really high standard. You don't actually need much more than that to become a pretty damn good player. Certainly be out playing bar band gigs and that kind of stuff. I know guys who earn, frankly, a much better living than me and know far less than those things I've just outlined. So anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts if you are good players, teachers, whatever, or just some guy with an opinion like me. Post down in the comments section below, and then hopefully anyone that stumbles upon this video will have a sea of information and they can just pick the things that come up the most. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Later.